Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Joe Pine, author of The Experience Economy and lots of other bestsellers, including the upcoming book Transformation. I'm saying,
I just got the a galley proof
oh my
yesterday.
gosh,
So it's real,
congratulations.
it's real. I love it.
I'm saying the name wrong. What's the real name of it?
The transformation economy.
The Transformation Economy. I want to call it the Transformation Book because that was the name of the Substack.
That's a Substack. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know when we started that. We didn't know what the final name would be, so that's why it's that way.
Fair. I think it's such a good name and such a needed book. Anyway, go pre-order it. I've pre-ordered my copy. I can't wait. It's going to be sitting in my cart till February, building my excitement.
And I noticed Dave didn't say he pre-ordered it. I just want to.
I haven't yet. I need to, don't I?
Yeah, you and all of our listeners. That's Dave Norton. He's our other co-host. He's an experienced futurist and founder of Stone Mantle. I work with Dave and Joe, and I'm Aranza Savis, an expert in coaching, motivation, and behavior change. And each week, we bring you a trending story from the news and share our hot takes on what it means for experienced strategists. So this week, we're heading out to Hollywood. We've got kind of two back-to-back articles we want to explore today. The first one comes from the Hollywood Reporter. They're talking about the new movie theater concept from the founder of Alamo Drafthouse. It includes private rooms, gourmet meals, and guest attendance. It's opening soon in New York City's Chelsea neighborhood. It's called Metro Private Cinema. The name kind of says it all. Good for them. But it's really an intimate, upscale, and very culinary spin on a night out at the movies. So highly customized. We'll talk more about that. But we also want to talk about something similar that's happening on a broader scale and a grander scale, I guess, more accurately. Wall Street Journal wrote about this last week. The article is by Ben Fritz, published November 7th. And title of that article is Why Everyone in Hollywood Wants Their Movie in IMAX. Subhead, IMAX's global screens are a hot commodity and filmmakers fight to land them far in advance. So a lot of similarities in what both of these articles are saying. And so we want to talk about what we are seeing in terms of the relationship between Hollywood and experience and what that means for the rest of us who are not in Hollywood. Joe, I'm going to kick things over to you to start today.
Well, let me start by going back a bit, which is to the pandemic, when the pandemic decimated the experience economy, experience sector of the economy, because any place people wanted to gather was a place nobody wanted to be. And then when things opened up, it was amazing that everything filled to capacity. Theme park opened up to 25%. It's full at 25%. Goes to 50%, it's full at 50%, and so on and so forth, except for movies, right? Movies were the one thing that, and as far as I can tell, the only really experience that did not come back in the same way as the others. And I think that is mostly due to lack of great movies, right? The first run movies, they were just like, on the keeping stuff on the sidelines and that until Tom Cruise and Maverick came around. I think that was the first one that showed, hey, we put good movies out there. Guess what? People are going to come. They've also faced a lot of commoditization, due to Netflix, Amazon, other streaming services, as well as home theaters, and just even not a home theater per se, but just a big screen in your own home means that you can get high quality without having to go to a movie theater. But movie theaters provide a much higher level of experience, a much more engaging experience, because you're around other people. When you laugh and other people laugh, everybody laughs more. When you cry and other people cry, everybody cries more. It just is so much more immersive than regular theaters are. And so it's still a combination of that and still not having all the great pictures that is causing them to fall down. So they're starting to innovate more and come up with new formats such as Alamo. In the article from the Wall Street Journal and IMAX, one phrase I remember from is executives call it the premiumization.
Mm-hmm. I thought you'd like that line.
Yes, I did like that line. It's the one line I highlight, right? The premium, I can't say it, but I know it. The premiumization of the film business, which is the exact same thing that Almo's doing, right? It's all about that premiumization, creating a higher level of experience than anything else. The Alamo one, so they have theaters from the size of 4 people up to 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes against a little bit what I said about how much better it is to be in a movie theater because of all the people around you. But the difference now, these people are your friends and your family, right? These people are intimates. You're not going to a movie theater inviting, 3 other people without them being intimates.
Well, they actually say it's up to the planner to create the experience.
Right.
And so what it's hitting on kind of, they're each taking, I think, a different end of the spectrum that you describe here and really leveraging it. I think both are looking at immersion and both are looking at the customization of the experience. It's just that one is going all the way into like that urge that we have to customize and personalize our experience at home and to say, I can eat my potato chips and talk loudly to my friends while I watch the movie. I can dress up while I watch the movie. I can, whatever randomness people are doing in their own homes while watching a movie, now they can do it a premium setting.
So what I want to know is my wife makes the best popcorn in the world. We sneak it into movie theaters, right? She's got a big bag. It's got 2 bags of popcorn,
don't anybody rat
bags.
Joe out.
I know.
Gonna, put him on their blacklist.
And so what I want to know is, to customize it, will they let me take my own popcorn above board? Right? Yes, okay, we'll order the premium food and everything. And that's part of the thing Combo is doing. Is just like the food is out of this world that they're doing. But I want to bring my wife's popcorn. Sorry, that's a must.
Yeah. I am with you, and I order the Amish popcorn if you're looking for pro tips.
I like the
Amish popcorn's where it's at.
That's
I
what
don't
we
know
do
what
too.
Amish popcorn is.
Joe, send me your address. I'm going to Amazon you, and congratulations on your book gift.
Arances, did I introduce you to Amish popcorn?
No, we haven't bonded over this.
Yeah, that's been a staple at the Norton home for a long time.
Same at the Savas home. It's Amish popcorn plus truffle salt. That's our.
I tend to disagree with Joe on a couple of points here.
Not about popcorn, though.
Not about popcorn, but one of the things is there weren't any good movies. There were good movies. There were good movies that were coming out.
They weren't blockbusters.
They weren't blockbusters.
Yeah.
And to me, a blockbuster is a particular genre that we're looking at. What I think happened post-COVID is that people became much more attuned to the impact of context on movie watching. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what we're seeing now is people are making decisions and they're going, when I want this type of an experience with movies, then I will watch it at home. When I want an experience a blockbuster, then I'll watch it in an IMAX theater. Mm-hmm. So in their minds, they are identifying the situations that they want. And
but that doesn't explain why it's gone down. So tell me.
Sure, it does, because there's more locations for them to go to, and they prefer they prefer the at-home experience. Because they can do all of the things that Arances was talking about. They can bring their own popcorn. They can dress however they want. I think I mentioned in one of our podcasts earlier that I went to.
Arances loves dressing up in costumes, and
I do.
I saw your Halloween pictures.
We don't mess around.
That's right. So I mentioned that we went to one of these a little bit more premium movie theaters, and some people had shown up in their pajamas with blankets, right? So they're customizing their experience. They understand the importance of getting into the right mode, getting into the right situation, and it will be interesting to see if Alamo takes off, because it's a very specific situation that you're creating. The hardest part for me, I think, about the Alamo situation is they kind of say, well, yeah, you can talk during a movie, but you're dumb if you do. We don't like you if you do. And in fact, that's
Yeah, I
one
mean,
of the
to be fair, he left the Alamo. He's no longer part of them,
right.
so we
But
can't credit.
We
that's
always
one
talk during
of
movies,
the
just
main
listen how
reasons
loud.
why you would want to be with a group that you
Mhm.
know. I mean, 4 hours sitting together with a group at a premium
Right,
dinner, you got to be able to talk.
I
right. Can
think
we
they're going to
rewind
want to
if we
figure out
talk so
who
much
their
we missed
audience
something?
is. And I think their audience actually is going to be the people who are going to the karaoke bars. It's going to be the people who are going to all the party spaces. And yet, like, it's not going to be necessarily, though they allude to it, and you can see just by the choices of movies that they seed, they are trying to figure out who their audience is. So they mention that you can get Frozen, right? And so for this certain class of person who has $200 a kid to spend on a Frozen birthday party, this could be a beautifully immersive way to watch the film and serve your special Frozen cake with all your Frozen decor and all your little girls running around like Elsa and Anna. But they also mention, let's say I don't think they actually mention this. They should Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you get your
Yeah.
30-year-old friends together for your 30-year-old birthday party.
It's more like a
And so,
50-year-old thing and requires
I mean,
Yeah,
toilet.
I
it's
think it
back.
is more like a
It's
50
back.
year.
It requires
It,
toilet paper too. So
It's
yeah,
30. You think it's 30?
it's back now. It's having a
Well,
resurgence.
but you make my point for
It's an
me,
experience
Francis,
venue.
which is I don't think it's as much the who as it's as much the when, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is good. If it's going to work, it's going to be based on at least the Alamo thing. It's going to be based on understanding multiple occasions in which you would want to be doing this. The same with a
Yeah.
lot of other boutique type of
And
experiences.
they need to definitely offer cake on their menu, and they don't mention it, and they should.
yeah, birthdays are big. That's a big situation. You're right.
Yep.
You're exactly right there.
Right. So I think that there's a difference there. Now the IMAX thing, Joe, we went to that place in Salt Lake City. I can't
Oh,
remember the name of it.
right. The Sphere
The
competitor.
Sphere.
Cosm.
Cosm. That's right.
Sphere, that's right. We went to Cosm. They had their prototype in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
They now opened up in Los Angeles and others.
Yeah. So IMAX has been around now for 30 years, something like that, right? A long time.
Right.
Yeah. I
And
actually was so
the same as
fascinated
Rocky
by the
Horror
founder's story or the president's story. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, but
Worth a read on the article just for that.
well, I thought the trajectory of how it came into movie theaters was really interesting because it started out being in museums, just like Cosm has been all about
that's heritage.
planetariums, right? And it's making its way forward. I don't understand why IMAX doesn't do more with sports events. I don't understand why they're not thinking about different types concerts. I mean, there was a great opportunity with Taylor Swift to do something.
Taylor Swift.
And why aren't more people doing that?
We did the AMC concert recently, and that was really interesting. But yeah, I think you're right. IMAX is where it's at for that stuff, and they should be kind of the more local sphere.
Yeah. And why not why shouldn't Cosm be playing in this marketplace now that there's an opportunity for them to really take off? I think that IMAX it's interesting that it's taken so long for it to take over the movie industry. I would have assumed that it would have happened a lot faster. Honestly,
I mean, it's the right time. They were happy doing with
1% of the screen. Sorry,
I know
it's small. Right?
But they also they were able to compete with an AMC until the pandemic. To Joe's point, it was the pandemic that really upended everything and made people so incredibly comfortable having this experience in their homes. They got bigger TVs. They invested in comfier couches and comfier pajamas. Hygge was the word of the year. And they no longer needed the movie theaters. And so this is, I think, the time is right for them to do this. but I agree. They need to come up with more reasons to get people in.
Yeah.
And I think these singular experiences. So the one we went to was this artist Loewe, and she had performed in LA. I'm pretty sure her daddy bought out the Hollywood Bowl, but that's a different episode. And they filmed it and then they showed it at, I don't know, let's say 25 AMC screens around the country. So we went with our kids and they were so excited to meet all these other Loewe fans. It was like going to a concert in terms of the community element of it, because
Yeah.
there was nobody there who didn't like this Icelandic 20-year-old jazz singer. Um, and I mean, it's a niche market, but the kids came from all over and they all met up and were super excited to connect in their cute little matching outfits. And it felt like we'd taken them to a concert at a fraction of the inconvenience and cost. So it was a win for everybody. And I do think we should see more of that. We should see more sports. I know more and more you're seeing theater performances broadcast in
Yeah.
movie theaters, which
Yeah.
I think is really smart and exciting to scale that and to like actually figure out a way to pay all these union workers who are producing these things, because these are costly businesses that are built on the backs of union labor. And they are American made, a lot of these things, whether it's sports or theater or film. And like that has become increasingly costly and makes it increasingly difficult to compete. So, yeah, I think looking at how to scale that experience, that feel, and make them more accessible is going to like that. That's not going to slow down.
Yeah, I do think you're right. I do think that there needs to be a lot more innovation in the theater space as a whole. And premium seating is just kind of the beginning of that. So maybe this will lead to all kinds of new ways of enjoying content, because clearly people love content. They're watching a lot of Netflix. They're watching a lot of movies.
A lot.
Let me mention one other thing that I think is important for experienced strategists, which is in the re-release of the experience economy back in 2020. We introduced a new concept, new formula I love called the money value of time, right, or MVT. And I use movies as sort of like this is the standard, right? Is you spend $12 at a movie theater and you're there for 2 hours. That's 120 minutes. That means the movie theater is not counting all the food and beverage, which is probably their biggest profit center because it's not as public. But basically, you're getting 10
And
cents
it's
per
not
minute.
true for you because you're bringing your own popcorn.
That's right. That's right. And but so that's 10 cents a minute. And I would say, okay, that's a good experience. You get 10 cents a minute. But there's so many experiences that go higher than that. At the time, Disney was 20, 23 cents a minute. I calculated Disneyland, Disney World. Now it's in the 30s. But escape rooms are generally in the 50s. Immersive art experiences are 50 cents per minute. And that's what the Alamo is getting to, right? So now it's basically $50 per person. I noticed that they didn't give a discount if you hired out a 12 or 20 person one. It's still $50 per person.
And then there's still the food on top of that.
Right. And the food on top of that is even more, right?
Yeah.
So this is definitely a premium experience, right? You spend more per minute here than you do at a Disney theme park, and probably spending commensurately more on the food than you do at a Disney theme park. And so that's really, swinging for the fences there. And I applaud them. And if they're successful, I mean, they're created that value that people are willing to spend. That every time you spend that movie, here's one of the things you can bring, right? Bring a big jar of quarters, right? And every minute take 2 out and throw them at the screen, and that's what you're spending.
I don't think I'm going to rent one of those rooms with you, Joe.
If they're going to be successful, though, it's going to have to be more than just the content and the good food. It really has to be the social component for Alamo. If they don't get that part down.
What we don't know, too, is how long the rental is outside of the actual viewing period. Because if it does make a whole evening out for you, it starts to feel a little more reasonable on
more than 2 hours. If it's 4 hours because you have dinner beforehand,
which is what I think
you have a birthday party, you got the cake and celebration and presents and that sort of thing. It's true.
And then who you're comping to is very different.
Well, they're opening up in New York, Aransas. So
Yes.
you're going to have to go experience this for us and let us know. And,
Right.
and here's my recommendation to you, right, is that you can write that off in your taxes. So it's even
Exactly.
cheaper because this is research that we're doing on behalf of Stone Mantle.
Correct. That's what I was thinking. I was actually hoping a company would hire me to consult for them on
Yep.
this and they could pay for it.
Yep. That's even better. Even better.
That's even better. Oh my
Standing
gosh.
by for your offers. Um, so what do you guys think experienced strategists who are not in the in film and production of any kind should take from this? Quick thoughts?
I'll just go with what I said before. The way that the consumer thinks today, because they have so many choices, there's so much abundance, and they have so much more control, is they think in terms of when they're going to use your product. They don't think necessarily in terms of, oh, I am this type of person necessarily, but they think in terms of when would this fit my life. So I think
So
strategists need to be thinking about
when?
how do they capture more wins? How do they capture more situations?
So valuable.
I'll say two things, only one of which I said before, which is measure your MVT, right? Measure the amount of money that people are spending in your experiences per minute. Even if you're not charging admission like they are, you can still, like you can measure Starbucks by, I spent a half hour on a show, I spent $5 a drink, what my MVT is. And use that as a measure cross industry of how great an experience, how engaging experience you really are. And two, I would cite our 4E model from the book, which has the axes we already mentioned, immersion and absorption, as well as passive and active. And the movie theaters are much more immersive than they are at home, even with big screens and everything, and that makes them more valuable. But I liked what you said, Aransas, of it's also now like people are going to karaoke are the ones that are going to hear. It's much more participative. I can talk during the movie. We can do things. I can throw quarters at the screen and bring my own popcorn, I hope, and so forth. But so what they're doing is they're encompassing all four realms. It's not just an entertainment realm. In particular, it's becoming more escapist as well, going to someplace as opposed to staying at home, participating more in it as opposed to just being a passive absorbing of the sights and sounds that are presented to me.
I love it. And that was going to be my recommendation, is to think about ways to make these more actively engaging for folks, to allow them to feel like co-creators in their experiences is really valuable, to create that investment. But I also think for this industry, there's an opportunity to think about how to take this one step further and turn it into a transformational experience. And you can think about, like, I remember the power of watching the movie Big Night and the feeling of watching these chefs create these beautiful meals. So to combine that with a cooking lesson with one of these incredible chefs that you have there, now there is an experience people will pay a premium for. And so I think, like, I make fun of Meghan Markle and her silly little,
as you should,
her silly show. And I was more creative in my cooking and my home decor when I was watching it. And my daughter and I would have so much fun Meganing our food. And we felt something and we learned something, even though I don't think she actually knew anything about it. Some of her guests knew some things. And I do think that, like, that's not totally dissimilar to the opportunity they have here. All right, fun stuff. You guys, thank you for listening to us. Joe, Dave, thanks for the great commentary. We'll be back with you next week with another story on experience strategy. And our hope is, just as always, that you're taking these as sparks to carry into your own work, and that you'll continue the conversation with us on Substack, on LinkedIn, or heck, write us an email. We'd love to hear from you.